It's 5 days to the Edo September 24th election. There are several activities by political parties ahead of the elections and almost preparation ahead of the government house. Concern from what the People's Democratic Party are currently engaging the people of Edo with, the APC, the Labour Party, and other political parties as well, which INEC has cleared from their portal to contest the election out of Saturday, September 21st. There are a whole lot of growing concern. The pre-elections issues are on board, where the IG of police has called for calm in several of the town hall meeting, even with the People's Democratic Party boycotting the peace accord, which is the normal and usual rituals at every election time. According to the People's Democratic Party this time, they are saying that they are afraid that the elections may be marred with a whole lot of violence from the APC, the accusation of the part of the APC. And the IG have come out very clear to say to the people of Edo that they can go out on Saturday, September 24th to vote. This is a countdown of the election. And on Big Talk, most especially this week, we'll be keeping our eyes very close to know what political gladiators, stakeholders are doing and what the people are really saying about the election, which our eyes is right there in Edo, September 24th. Over the weekend, there were several campaigns by political parties. The most very coming to attention was the speech made by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, also suing for the people of Edo to vote for People's Democratic Party. On the other end, the former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshimole, also reacted in a way and also appealing for more votes for the APC candidate, Senator Monday. And let's take a listen to some of the clips we have for you tonight, coming from the Benin City over the weekend.
Edo is taking a different direction. We heard that you have decided that it is time for you to rejoin the center. Travel around the 192 ward. The message is the same. The foundation of our future has been compromised by Governor Obaseki and his advisor and special co-partner, as well as Kodaro.
That was from the campaign of All Progressive Congress. Just like our APC, the People's Democratic Party also held the grand finale of the campaign also at Benin City, where they also said they must retain their seat in the government house. And well, the people really have to determine who takes back the government house from September 24th. A whole lot of concern. But tonight on the program, we'll be majorly looking at the pre-election issues. What are the critical concerns? What are the questions we must begin to ask everyone involved in this election? What are the level? We'll assess also the preparation of INEC in terms of their guaranteed, their guidelines, and what the 2022 electoral bill really have to say about every election. Would we see anything different from the previous elections in the country? Tonight on the program, I'm being joined by Chairman, National Democracy Stakeholder Group, Dr. Clinton Ako, joins us live here on the program to give us a perspective to the broader issues in Edo. Thanks so much for joining us, Doctor, on the program.
Thank you for having me.
A whole lot of concern. When you look at the off-cycle election, it looks at, this is just two states having the turn of September and November. First is the Edo election. And November, INEC said they will be going to Ondo to conduct the election. So these are off-cycle election. And it looks that the off-cycle election often have more attention where people are really watching. Every part of this, every part of the country are really concerned about what is happening in Edo. What is your assessment of the pre-election activities by political parties, the commission and the security agencies? What is your observation about that?
Okay, those are basic issue of concern. When you want to look at elections, the issue of security, the issue of voter apathy, and that is actually informed from previous elections. Like you said, the Edo election is an off-season election, and the world is watching. Attentions are actually diverted for a general elections that have much participant. But for the off-season elections, it's also an opportunity for the umpire to look at their fault lines from previous elections and see how they can correct it. So for the Edo election, I think that the tensions are high. You can see what the political parties, stakeholders are saying. You can see what the incumbent party in Edo State, which is the PDP, and of course the ruling party at the national, at the center, which is the APC, we believe that, I believe personally that with other parties, but the contenders that we know generally in these elections are the PDP, APC, are probably Labour parties. Of course, we can, it's a multi-party system. We can play down the opportunities and prospect of other parties, but given from the polls, you know that there are major two contenders, you can say three contenders that's involved in these elections. They are also raising issues. The PDP has raised issues concerning issue of interference, which has been part of the Nigerian electoral process over time. We have history of off-cycle election with several interference from not even when the PDP were at the center, they were accused, there were counter-accusations. Now the APC are there, and the issues have not changed. But we believe that for 25 years, the Nigerian election has come a long way. And this is going to be probably, after 25 years, one of the first off-cycle elections that's going to be happening. So it's a test run to believe that our democracy is no more a nascent democracy will come of age. We'll probably have learned lessons. So we're going to be watching, like I said, the world is watching. But we'll take three key things like answering your question, issues of security, issue of voter apathy, and of course, drawing from the experience of the 2023 election, which the results from Edo to the center showed differently.
I mean, when you look at from the report we're having, we can confirm more than 30 persons have probably have casualties in terms of violence, you know, that have been victim of some of these pre-election violence. We've seen a policeman that have been confirmed dead. We've seen attacks by, you know, political parties in terms of attacking the other campaign councils. We've seen APC raise concern that, you know, their campaign councils were attacked and all of that. So we're looking at understanding how to manage what should be the driving force of the violence, the pre-election violence, because you understand that these are all what probably may intimidate voters who probably may have intentions to go out to cast their vote, which is their right. From all indication, do you feel that some of these violence are just, are what is mass-minded by political actors, or is aware of their supporters probably trying to intimidate the others?
Okay, well, what's have inspired this situation in Edo State, I think is generally, from our personal opinion, is the events of the 2023 general elections. Now, there are two sides to it. There are no more much trust. Like I would say, most people, when you take the polls, don't believe that the umpire, that is LENEKE, are supposed to do what they are supposed to do. Judging from the events of the 2020, as inspired by the event of 2020. Then, secondly, of course, because of the history of the party at the center interfering with state, you understand? The incumbent party, which is the PDP in Edo State, I also believe that there is going to be interference from the center. So all those are fourth line that have inspired the tension and agitation of the people. And it has statements coming from statement that we as stakeholders thought we have done away with the past of the 25 years that have gone, and our experience are still resonating of calling an election a do or die. It's not supposed to be. So that increased the tension. So the main actors in the main contenders are supposed to be the one to be appealing to the people, to be conscientizing the people and advocating for the tension to drop down. But what as a result of the statements from both sides, both the incumbent and the party at the center, you can see that it caused for a lot of worry. Because if the sword is not drawn for a battle, what do you expect the follower to do? They will react to it. So what we're saying is that our advice basically is the two political parties, the major contenders, should tell their followers to calm down. There's life after elections. At the end of the day, whoever wins, they are Edo people.
They are Edo people, and they are fighting to rule over the Edo people, the same people that are trying to boycott. Let's get into the issue of boycotting the peace accord. Probably it has always been a usual ritual conducted by LENEKE in a way of trying to bring all the political parties to agree that this election must be peaceful. But we saw People's Democratic Party boycotting that exercise. According to them, there are no indications of free, where probably they can have the confidence of the security agencies, the pointed fingers, the accusing that probably the IG and the security agencies, most especially the police, have been involved in arrest of some of their supporters. These are some of the concerned arrests, where that is why they boycotted the peace accord. How important is peace accord? And from all indications on all elections we've had in this country, do you feel that the parties, the political gladiators have obeyed, on the tenets that guides this exercise?
Well, from the peace accord, from the very onset, the initiative and the intentions, motive, and objectives of the peace accord are usually what is inspired in most democracy, because elections are very key. Elections are the foundation to democratic rule, and in the case where people generally look at elections and outcome of elections as something that must be do or die, there's a need that you bring such peace accord to the fore, where everybody will agree to follow the books. Following the books, I mean that after elections and you're not comfortable with the outcomes, you go to the court. And another thing again is that the Nigerian people over time have not been comfortable, I'll use that word to be precise and to be exact, that have not been comfortable with the outcomes of these elections. So as I said, events and antecedents have inspired the tension that you're seeing. So if you don't have confidence on the umpire, if you don't have confidence on the court, on the judicial system, at the end of the day, what you'll be looking at is, I need to end this thing now. I need to do whatever I need to do to win, because if I don't win and I go to sign the peace accord, you understand, I don't agree to the outcome, I'll be forced to do that. So a way to be able to shift from those intentions and ideas that I have is to keep away from the peace accord. But truly, I would have expected that the peace accord have, if you look at instances where it's been implemented, a good example is the 2023 general election, the 2015 general election between Goodluck Jonathan and former President Buhari. The peace accord was signed, and Jonathan was a good example of keeping up to the peace accord. Those are good examples that we're supposed to look back and learn from our 25 years of democracy. I would have expected that the PDP would have respected and signed up the peace accord, if you ask me.
Because when you look at from the governor's body language, it looks that he's so sure that, there's something he's afraid of. But some person who said, you are the sitting governor of the state, you are the chief executive officer of the state, why should you be afraid of people hijacking the process? In a way, he also raised concern, the fact that it might look that people probably are not with the governor. Are you seeing in that direction? Because as a governor, one probably would expect you have the advantage because you are in the government house and you're trying to you're trying to get the support of the people back more to the government house. From your assessment, do you feel that sometimes performance of the governors have also been a concern there? Because some people will say, if you're a governor, show us what you've done. Now you're campaigning for another, another candidate to take over from you. What should be your antecedent? If in 2016 they had the Edo election, and also the last election that they had in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, we probably would have had a grounds that you were fighting against the federal might, you were fighting against forces, but you never raised concerns of boycotting the peace accord. Do you feel that the governor probably have something in common?
No, I don't think, like I said, I think the governor represents the interests of the PDP. And if his political party said they are not going to sign the peace accord, there's nothing he can do about it. As a
ruling party, as a sitting party.
As an incumbent party. But the factors that control these elections are not with the governor. You must understand that. The factor that controls the election majorly comes from the center.
Are the factors not the people?
The security for the elections comes from the center. The umpire comes from the center. So if there's already a perceived, like I use the word perceived, let me be precise, a perceived, if the governor perceive or PDP perceive that, there's going to be interference because the component that controls the elections, there's the umpire and the police, which are the critical part of the determinant of elections, are not with them. Then there's a cause for worry. If they don't trust the system, that the system would go by the books. The INEC will act as the umpire And of course, the police will defend all Edo people and ensure that they come out rightly to vote. If they have that perception that they will go the other way, there's a need for such agitations.
When you look at also the fact that it seems that more attention is on the APC and PDP, well, one may agree that they are the two major political parties. Concern to Labour Party has also been an issue. When you look at the last election in Edo State, Labour Party had some Senate, they had a Senate seat for themselves. They had even the House of Representatives, means that the popular movement, or B movement, had also, deeply had a space in Edo State. Do you feel that is also a factor to critically also consider in this election, or probably it was just a wave of 2023? What was the assessment about that movement?
Yeah, for me, the 2023 elections wasn't about the Labour Party. At the presidential level, it was about Peter Obi. Because there were several people that were not card-carrying members of Labour Party, but voted for Peter Obi.
But some people won Senate, some people won House of Reps.
It's a usual drive, and I can go back to that. I have a publication coming up. It's called Parties and General Elections in Nigeria. He documents our history of elections. And those kind of waves goes around. When the person at the center have a lot of followership, like the twist that happened, the offset that happened in our democracy within that 25 years, that a ruling party was defeated by an opposition party that brought in Muhammadu Buhari. The wave was about Buhari. If you look at the elections results over time that Buhari has contested, Buhari was about 11-point-something million voters that he has garnered over the time. And so the wave was about him. That was what gave the drive. So the same flow that carried the Buhari swings across the state in the APC then was the same that Labour had. I can assure from data that some of the people that even won on the Labour Party were not actually popular candidates. But there's this wave because of Peter Obi that went through the entire country, and a lot of people under the Labour Party was able to cash in on that and go. And it's not the same situation with the Edo State. The man running is not Peter Obi. The candidate for Labour Party is not Peter Obi. And so the dynamics are actually different.
All right, because the reason I'm asking that question is about having the confidence of the people to really go out to cast their vote. Issues of participation, issues of concern about the fears of what an ordinary person really feel about the election. Some are perceiving violence, some are perceiving rigging. This has also brought, we probably may have a concern now on the concern raised on the wreck of Edo State. Some say you are a cousin to former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike. You cannot give us free and fair election. It seems former governor of Rivers State is now standing with the APC and all of that. Do you feel from all indications that it's possible that a wreck can lead to a rigging or enthronement of another in elections?
Well, for me, if where the system works, the REC is just one individual, though he has a lot of influence. But when the components under the REC agree to do the right thing, I don't think he has that much power. For whoever is related to, the law counts. There's a specific.
Because we've had REC in Adamawa State in the last election that declared, one of the aspirants to be the elect of their particular state. But a law actually had a cause where it was overturned. Yeah. Because we are afraid of such a scenario.
Exactly. What happened in Adamawa State, for the records, was that the people, the central word in democracy, and I'm putting this to all Nigerians. The central word in democracy is the people. Democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people, except we take ownership. When the Edo people take ownership of this election and come out en masse, the chance of rigging will be reduced. Completely. But if they are voter apathy, you've given opportunity for rigging. In Adamawa State, people came out en masse to vote to return the governor. So there was nothing the REC can do.
So even when the REC chairman had declared the order,
the figures cannot be manipulated. What you have from the result pulling in, the REC decisions become invalid automatically. That even the national, the national body have to deny him that what he did was wrong. So I'm urging the Edo people to stand by your mandate, come out. And defend Nigeria belongs to all of us. And for 25 years, we've come to know that elections should count. If it doesn't count, you are going to go through the whole of the next 4 years with somebody you don't want. So the only way is to own the process with any intimidation, come out and exercise your vote. And it's your right. Nobody should deprive you of your right after 25 years of democracy or come of age. And people should come out and vote. When there are massive voting, people express their mandate, the chances of rigging is grossly limited. That's the truth.
Because the reason why some person probably may feel we've been voting in 2023, we're out, we collected our PVCs to go participate in election. But what we saw, the outcome of that election did not meet our expectation. Probably there were a lot of INEC not really standing on their words that you will transmit electronically the results from the polling unit back to the IREV and all of that guidelines that they gave to us. So INEC is always really on the front burner here. But if you ask INEC will tell you that political parties are making the job so difficult for us, that they are the ones bribing, probably voters, some vote buying, and they're different polling unit. They are the one trying to let the people at the security agencies, all those in a national assignment to compromise in the process of carrying out their duty. And after the end of all of that, the pressure and the eyes and attention is on INEC. Do you feel that we are expecting much on INEC, but we are not paying attention to what political parties are doing? Because what leads to people and INEC probably compromising is the actions of people. Who are those to be held responsible?
Well, I think everybody shares from the cup of coffee in this issue. I want to completely throw the blame on the political parties and leaving INEC out. One, we really don't have, sadly, internal democracy in our political parties. But the political parties are the foundation of every democracy. The political parties are the stakeholders, you understand, that lead and show the direction for every cause of democracy. They are usually at the driver's seat. But in the Nigerian constitution, there are no independent candidates. So you can only become a local government chairman. You can only become a member of a state assembly. You can only become a governor. You can become a senator, a rep member, and a president via the vehicle of a political party. So when we don't have grounded political parties that have internal democracy and live by their principle and their mandate, which are captured in the manifesto, we have issues. So that's where the manipulation, that's where the issue starts. So when those fundamental principles of political parties are compromised, what you see is interference. The next stage of it is INEC. From both sides, they'll be looking for where they can manipulate INEC. And, well, if INEC falls into the bait, what you see is what you've seen at the end of the day, several people rushing to court to either say their mandates were stolen or they were disenfranchised on different issues that come from the umpire. But when we have political parties that are principled, political parties that live up to their mandate, you will see the issues of the umpire will be made easy, really.
All right, before we get to issues of judiciary independence, because at the end of every election, you will agree with me that political parties will always run to court and sometimes making the whole work so much difficult for them. Issues about who to vote, because sometimes they are concerned that vote for candidate, do not vote for political party.
Yeah.
Probably some person will argue with you that in Nigeria we're running a party system where you have to vote for the political party, whosoever the political party present. Because in the last election, probably some person will tell you, if they rather had this other person to be the candidate of APC in 2023 election, probably I would have voted. If they rather had this person in PDP, people say if former Governor Wike was the candidate, I probably would have voted. So a concern about people are so, probably some person said, it's better to go for an individual. But from your analysis, is it possible to have a person to go vote for individuals and not the party? Because at the end of the day, the party is what we see at the ballot.
Yeah, you see, at the end of the day, like I said, if the political parties shop for the right candidate that is popular, that has influence,
doing their primaries and all of that.
Doing their primaries and have shown commitment to the people over time, their job becomes easy. But when there are no internal democracy, an incumbent will want to have a successor, bring somebody that will succeed him, that's his friend, his relative, or his brother, and then, that opportunity of the political party creating a platform, an enabling platform to be able to, groom leaders, and present them as candidates. Of course, eventually they become our political leaders. It's not there. It's completely zero. And for 25 years, that has been one of the fault lines of the Nigerian political parties.
So you said godfatherism has been a factor in Nigeria's politics.
Very well. It's clearly.
Is it not for good? Some people said it's better to have a successor so as to continue from where you stopped.
Where did you stop? Reviewing our 25 years of democracy, where have we stopped? How has it helped us?
Do they have a way of still controlling the system
Exactly.
even after leaving office?
If you can look at the US elections, that is also just 51 or 52 days away. You can look at, for the first time in their over 200 and something years of democracy, a president actually aspired to come for his second 4 years. But stakeholders from the political party said that, advised him that you're not going to be the best for us. For the interest of the party and for the interest of the American people, step down. Can that happen in Nigeria? That's the question we need to start reflecting on. That for us to get a good country, for things to work, we must get our political leadership rights. The process that produces our leaders must be a genuine process from the very foundation that is transparent and the best people can emerge to lead. And that's been the sad line of our 25 years of democracy. So we need to, if we believe in this country and want to see how things can work and have a better Nigeria and inspire the Nigeria of our dream for our children and our children's children, we need to begin to reflect and begin to make these corrections, really.
A strong factor in the election of Edo, I mean, you look at issues of the fact that the last election, they said, we do not want godfatherism. And that was why they had to fall out, Governor Obaseki had to fall out from Obaseki, from Adams Oshimele. So a concern of also the fact that you are bringing, you are having someone you've anointed to be your successor this time from the People's Democratic Party. You go to APC, some person said, Adams Oshimele, it seems you're the one championing Senator Monday to be the candidate. So a concern of the fact that you said that Edo people said by their action in the last election, in the last gubernatorial election, that they do not want godfatherism. Do you feel that is still a factor lingering in this election and is a determining factor from what we are seeing?
Yeah, it is. It is. Sometimes it gets us to wonder that what you fight against or what you preach against, you end up doing it yourself. It's a recurring decimal that has happened in the Nigerian.
Have they not learned lesson from what has happened to former Governor Wike in Rivers State?
Well, I don't think our politicians learn lessons. That's the truth. Because at this point in time, really, we're supposed to be building foundation for the future, knowing that democracy has come to stay.
Are you happy what is happening in Rivers State?
Well, Rivers State has been that way. If you study it, historically, it's been that way. But I believe again that they always produce successors that act the way they are. So I will just leave it that way.
It's a systematic issue. So in Edo right now, it feels that the people of Edo have to determine if they still want to continue with these issues of godfatherism, because it looks that in both parties, one may say they have a factor.
Yeah, you know what is playing out in Edo State is somewhat like River State, if you ask me, because, well, the current incumbent governor is backing his successor, that he believes that he can take over from him. Then, of course, Senator Adams Oshimele, the former governor, is also backing somebody fully. I think his voice is heard most in this run for these elections. So basically, it's the same thing. If the candidates that emerge from the party have their own credit of leadership and governance, I believe that the former governors, like what happened on the Democratic Convention in the United States, will just come and inspire the people from the front line of the party as elder statesmen that will believe that our candidate is the best. But the candidates should speak for themselves. But when you have the governors, either incumbent or past, speaking from their candidate and their voice is heard loud, then there is an issue. So you begin to now count and begin to look at the godfatherism issue that we're talking about. It plays out. Because sometimes we begin to wonder whether the contest in Edo State is between Oshimele and the incumbent governor.
So what are the factors that probably may shape this election from all indications you are seeing?
Well, the power of incumbency is also strong. I wondering how that's going to play out for the PDP.
Because we can't determine which way it's going. It looks like PDP are tough, APC are tough, and the Labour Party is not a push. A push away.
That's a three-horse race. It's a three-horse race, but like I said, it to go this way. It's either the two party will fight themselves off the stage for one party to win.
If the people really have to vote.
Is that PDP and Labour fight their way off the stage for APC to win, or APC and Labour fight their way for PDP to win? It's vice versa. It's either ways, but it's too close to call. 4 days to the election, too close to call. But polls we don't have reliable polls here, though. I think even our polls are manipulated, but from some polls conducted online, is showing the power of the incumbent. But again, you can't really tell. The next few days we'll be able to determine, and of course, most importantly, the Edo people should come out and vote and exercise their right for who they want to govern them.
All right, Doctor, they are concerned about hardship in the country, and due to hunger, they are concerned to some person that will tell you probably an hungry man probably may not reject, some level of incentive for in election grounds, because when a man is hungry, he probably may take anything just to be able to survive. Are you concerned about the economic hardship probably playing out in the election? Because EFCC will tell you, men will be on ground to combat any political parties that wants to, be engaged in vote buying, and they will tell you it's against election ethics to engage in vote buying. So, vote buying have been discriminated. It has been totally, discouraged. But in some concern from what we are having as strong indicators that people are hungry, and this probably may be an issue in the election. People buying vote.
Yeah, I think if we're having this conversation like in 2015 or 2019, I would totally agree with you. But I think there's a sense of maturity within the Nigerian voter now. They expressly, and that was indicative and was especially shown during the 2023 election, just the general election that passed, basically. So vote buying will come, of course. It's not everybody that can resist to want to express. But I believe the Gen Z generation are actually up to want to exercise their mandate. And that they have discovered over time, because of the advent of technology, they are self-oriented. Because even the umpire themselves, they don't play a major role in orientation. And the agency responsible for that too, I don't think they are well funded to create that enabling platform for orientation that can really orient these people to say that the 5,000, 10,000 they can collect cannot even buy you some noodle of beans. So do you want to mortgage your next 4 years for 3? Economy is hard now. A bag of rice is about 70,000. So it's not when, and I can see that even the candidates are no more sharing rice and beans like they used to do because they are pretty much expensive now. So you can say, okay,
it looks the funding is probably dried in this kind of
Exactly. So they can say that, okay, if you want to really get in Nigeria to be able to come to the fore to say you want to buy him to vote, you have to take the stake up, and taking the stake up will hit on your budget. So what I believe that the other people come the next few days
must be able to resist
and resist everything and come and express their mandate. Yeah.
All right, everyone. We'll just have to catch on a break right away. And once we return from that very break, we'll be looking at judiciary independence. Recall that every after elections, there are always litigations. There are all those who said, we are not satisfied with the result. We are going to court to claim a mandate. Sometimes the judiciary, sometimes declare one who never won at the poll, winner due to some technicalities on the other hand. So a lot of interpretation and concern about how a judicial system manages election matters and manages a lot of processes. And that's some question persons will ask the judiciary. Should we rather rely on the judiciary determining who rules us in the state and all of that? So these are the factors we'll be looking at critically and what we must begin to do and watching the political actors against taking advantage of the courts in terms of getting to power. We'll look at this issue shortly after this break. Please stay with us. Many thanks everyone for sister with us. This is Big Talk, where we're looking at the days, 5 days to go for Edo election. A whole lot of concern. Actors are also getting their campaign heated on, even when they are actually climax it at the different locations on Saturday. But there are a whole lot of concerns. We are looking at the pre-elections issues. The aftermath of the election is also a major concern, because we're trying to see how we can get the elections right, because a recruiting process, recruiting leadership is also of a much paramount in every subnational development. And that's the extent we are having this conversation. I'm still having the chairman of the National Democracy Stakeholders Group, Dr. Kenneth Ako. Thanks so much for sister with us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Let's dive into the issues of the judiciary. You understand sometimes that they said judiciary is the last hope of a common man. But a land looks at is now becoming the last hope of some political parties. We've seen political parties who probably never won at the poll. We've seen political parties who were not popular enough during the elections, at the end of the day claiming their mandate. Some probably, INEC sometimes will get order from the court, to give out certificate of returns and all of that. So we've seen where number 3 becomes number 1st. We've seen elections where number 4 become number 2nd. We've seen where somebody at the end became the winner. So probably, you may not be a lawyer, but you have an understanding about all of the election processes that leads to this. Then INEC, on the other hand, will tell you, the judiciary will tell you the other end, that the politicians are the one ridiculing the court, always running to the court. Do you feel that we can ever have an election in this country where the ball will stop at the poll, where people will be satisfied, or the court is always the answer?
Yeah, democracy and election itself are basically not a destination, it's a journey. So being a journey, it gives room for improvement. And I said, because the first milestone we've had is the past 25 years, so I refer to that. And sometimes the judiciary are there on point, sometimes they are not there. But if the political parties have been able to have grounded themselves within the frontiers of ethics and democratic values, I believe that there will be less job for the judiciary. When election is seen to be credible, free, and fair, I don't think anybody wants to go to court. It will be foolhardy to just want to go to court when the indices are there. But because what election and parties represented our present climb is a far cry for what it represents in other climb of democracy, we can say that the buck will always come to the judiciary, and they must take a stand. I'm not a lawyer, but given from incidences and judgments in the past 25 years, a lot of Nigerians are not impressed with the outcome of the judiciary. That's why you see that there are also much tension, a do or die phrase that has been used, that we must find a way to end this process within the permits of what we can control. Because if it goes outside us, we don't believe that the court is going to do justice. But like I said, the Nigerian judicial process have also evolved in the past 25 years, and I believe that they would aspire to be able to start giving judgments that is tied into not to the interest of Nigeria, because the lady justice is blind. You might feel that it belongs to you, and she tells you that no, it doesn't belong to you on different grounds. So that's the way it is. But I believe that the judiciary has fared well. They've contributed a great deal to the sustaining of democracy in the past 25 years. You can't give it all to them. Like I said, sometimes they are very right, sometimes they are very wrong, by our own perception. That's
all right. There have always been a common phrase, used by politicians, and go to court. If you're not satisfied, go to court. So sometimes the other victim of the situation, or victim of the election, sometimes feel that there are a lot of confidence they may be able to have for them to be using that phrase, go to court. If you're not satisfied, go to court. Do you feel that these also have probably a statement backed with some electoral confidence, judicial confidence? Because it's not just about having the quality of lawyers to be able to engage your issues at the court. For you to be able, as a party in election, to be using telling your your partner go to court if you're not satisfied. What probably may be informing some of these phrases? I hope you have been aware of that phrase.
Yes, I understand that, but they are just amplifying what the Constitution says. That if you're not...
Are they the right person to amplify that?
Well, what else could they say? They said if you're not satisfied with the process, you go to court. But it's become a cliche and it becomes a word abused by the Nigerian politicians.
It's not the clear issue of the winner takes it all, because sometimes people feel that when you win at the poll, you probably are succeeded.
Yes. Most of the times, like I said, if you look at the judgment, the outcome of the judgment of the 2023 general election, you can tell. So there are more reasons for more politicians that think they have the upper hand to ask you to go to court. Because the judgment to a lot of Nigerians, like I said, the stakeholders which I represent, were not favorable, were not what they were looking at. And there are instances that the issues were very clear. And there were also instances that the issues were very clear on both sides, that the judiciary make pronouncements that were different from people's expectation. But the Constitution empowered them to do so. So for me, I cannot analyze them. I cannot speak much about them, because when the Constitution gives you power to say yes, and you said yes, the case is closed.
So you are encouraging at every time everyone should still have the confidence in the court.
Yeah, we have the options constitutionally. Anything outside that will be calling for anarchy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now they're also raising a concern of wrong detention and arrest of some political supporters, where People's Democratic Party earlier stated that as saying that the ruling party, the APC, in this election are using the federal might to be arresting some person from Edo State. And these are the person probably, if they have found wanting or, probably committing an offense against the law, would have been trial within Edo State. But some of them are in custody right here in Abuja. So they're saying, why deploy people, why move suspects from Edo State to Abuja? This is an intimidation on their path. Do you feel some of these indications probably may be boosting the morale of our APC at the other end and intimidating the People's Democratic Party and other political parties?
Yeah. We have fragile institutions in Nigeria. You must be aware of that. Sometimes it's not the intention of the leadership to take such decisions, but of course, our politicians in Nigeria are very gullible. Very, very gullible indeed. So they can look at loopholes because of the fragile institutions that we have to manipulate the institution to be able to have their way. So you can find out now that some of those decisions for picking those people from Edo State, Benin City, or wherever in Edo State to Abuja were not consented by the authorities of the Nigerian police. And that's why the IG did very well by going to Edo State to affirm them that we are police for Nigeria. We are not police for APC, the ruling party, that you can come outside and exercise your vote. So I think that's quite encouraging. But you must know that elections are very contentious in Nigeria, and people can go out of several ways to do several things that are not human inclined to that extent. So that should be expected. But that shouldn't deter anybody. It's a race to win. And because it's a race, you must put in your best to make sure you win. The whole idea is that it's not that your team played beautifully in the Premier League. The idea is that you won the Premier League.
Absolutely. Over 35,000 policemen have been deployed, according to IG, for the election. Probably some person would say, what are their jobs? What are the role of the security agencies? Probably to protect every electoral officers, those polling unit agents, and all of the materials, sensitive materials and insensitive materials. But sometimes we're concerned about other persons taking advantage of main of the security agencies to probably abet the process. What's the concern and reviews of security agencies involved in elections? And now that we are having over 35,000 that will be deployed for that election. What are your fears?
Okay. Issues of security and constitutional concerns for elections are very paramount because they make or mar the elections. So, but like I said, I'll go back to what I've said that the IG has done, going to Edo State personally to say that there are enough policemen on ground. There won't be completely a situation where I said some of those policemen will be found culpable. Of course, here or there sometimes there can be some few ones that will go out of their way to do some certain things, but I can assure you that I will re-emphasize again that Edo people, the IG have come to make a statement. The police in Nigeria and Nigerian police, and they are for the safety of both the APC, PDP, Labour Party, and other parties that are participating in the elections in the next few days, come outside and exercise your right. No matter what it is, just come out and exercise your right. There will be issues here and there. There has been no election around the world. You can see from the American election that twice the Republican candidate, Donald Trump, there have been an attempted assassination on his life, twice. So it's contentious everywhere in the world. We can't completely zero the situation where there will not be one or two issues here and there. But ultimately, the people, Edo people, people in Edo State are the ones to come out and exercise your mandate. Don't be intimidated.
All right, before we wrap up the program, we've seen the outburst of the governor. Will defend it's a do or die affair, just as you've quoted. The governor said that in the election campaign, our People's Democratic Party have also said, we'll defend our vote with blood. There are a whole lot of some actions, some words that probably has raised a whole lot of concern of insecurity, and probably we feel that the institution like the security agency should be able to combat all of these and manage all of the candidates, manage all of the processes, and ensuring that the right thing must be done. In a way, what's your final thought and concern about both the INEC themselves, which they are the umpire responsible for the announcement of the elections, and the security agencies, they are the ones that are responsible for the securing the people? Because you understand that all of these intimidations as a way of posing threats to some persons, reducing, some political engagement in terms of going out to vote, exercising their right. What's your final take in all of these commissions who are responsible? Also, your final thought to the political actors, the political parties ahead of the election.
Okay, well, every life, I'll take the quote of former President Jonathan, that his ambition is not worth the life of any Nigeria. I think that each of the political actors, from APC to PDP to Labour parties and all those that are contending the elections, should make sure that these statements are re-emphasized. They are re-emphasized. They should take the eternal word of Goodluck Jonathan and said, no, my ambition is not worth the blood of any Edo persons, not worth the blood of any Nigerian, in the context he quoted it during his time. And he lived up to that. We should aspire to be leaders that come out and get the support of the people and genuinely win. Then my words to INEC is to, in line with the constitution that established them, be an umpire for all Nigerians and show a good example. Be more better than what you did in the 2020 general election. The 2024 elections in Edo State, which is the first off-season election after 25 years, should be a leading point and a springboard for better elections to come in Nigeria. And to the Nigerian police, you are our protector, you are our friend. So let that word of being our friend count in Edo State. We'll look up to that and all that to happen. Then for the voters, like I've emphasized, Edo people come out and vote. Express your right. It's your mandate. Vote for who you choose to vote for. Express your right. That constitutional right for you to vote is yours. Thank you.
Dr. Cletson Akol, the Chairman, National Democracy Stakeholders Group, thanks so much for your thoughts and concern ahead of the elections. Of course, we deeply have a feeling that the election, probably, irrespective of all lot of those threats, may become peaceful. Thanks so much for your thoughts on the program tonight. All right, everyone, there are a lot of concerns we'll be having on the program Big Talk from now until Friday, where we are counting our days, numbering day 5, and tomorrow we'll number day 4. The program will be having some of these APC, PDP, and Labour Party members going political in their concern. Sometime we'll be looking at their manifesto and what they really have about for the people of Edo. The concern about that the people hold the mandate and not the government and not the INEC, not the security agencies, just as of the rest. So be rest assured that we will be giving you all of the bits that you must be aware of as far as the Edo election is concerned here on Global Television. Thanks so much for joining us on the program tonight. Till tomorrow again, we'll be looking at more deeper developments as it gets to unfold itself all the way in Edo State. My name is Edika Michael. I'm a Nigeria Succeed.